say ne time I the man say ombra Ghana na I lapse it. It will show determination. Say me, we are me day, my book chrono, and as I mean book chrono, me bagan and be facing lobby. This is the type of person we are talking about. Oh, run. Now me and by this time, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo, what the whole case said Nam Tamaku. Where AYEKA, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo, ne nephew no, ne wo fasten on. Intanke obi anko betunu fo say onua ebusuadi no ye bon wo ban. Kakra na aka ne ye bon wo ban nse onim se wa ye bon ya wo de bra na ye mfa wo konseni ani na ye mambra ne ni wundi se wo come out cleaner no bi wo jeka by this time ka brass band digina Kodoka International Airport aye twen ye wura se obeba na obedi nkunim
osia ye mobibi akwaba edoba ye platform wi eso Mega TV adwuma ba akwa sisi aye din pa wo Ghana ha in fact oye youth ame men kan tro se koyibi isansi sebi obuoni respect sebi no kwaridie ni sebi sika papa bia su ni na mom kasa hunu keke na abekasa ha being MPP communicator onse we mashi wanase onse ayo wonwa denti amega mama kasa nsem we for about almost a year di ma observe MPP for mukasa on radio, TV and social media. It has totally changed because she said they're in opposition and adia omudi 8 years tana so omonti me anye and this ni John Mahama ayusu less than 1 year aye almost half of it. One, a stabilization of the economy, that is the dollar ratio. Two, the economy say the midi can inflation rate and petrol board any other things goods and services senka enyeman be gina wie na Ghana for ho ahenhanom abusia for omontimi anye but the ne ndi si aban bae no omoye nti omotena radio so a ato omo akeka eni sebi ensem a no kwaridie bia enim ye bekonye kwakutie MPP communicator eni NDC communicator na wankasa wajeji ba ya self hwan ena sebi o kanyansasem ena hwan so ena sebi o kan ahudurada ensem abusuyi let's also document betum na wa like na wa share na foforo enyi bia hwenko na yinti nsani bi na yekoba mega menso medi ma analysis ebeto aso edi ama fefefe na bibie timi akoso yinti nsani bi yekoba ebeto aso edi ama e platform isu yankopon hiraw
nipa ankasa edwuma ye din pa because I didn't know yes I didn't cry for safety reasons because at the end of the day you who say a quine be a create accident either by car hitting a person and I say at the end of the day a person causing accidents to head-on collisions. Intina ebia engineers be call I think say engineers be call say who say okay fine yenye bibi say na prevent it sadian. But you get chunk number of people adiana ebe bo no omo pennies you see we have been created in a way say obi a shortcut obi a soft life inti adiana ebi ebe long distance and ebe long trench ebe bo no ankasa nipa na ankasa no becomes a problem. Say oh yes o strike pe political antagonization be people na feed your more threaten no ina ye say but what the person is doing he knows verily say it is very very wrong and it is not starting now idea abeye yesuban since but you see sometimes a very devastating say some measure no some safety measure no is in place but at the end of the day you incur so a situation na ma yes our safety measure no, we are still incurring it.
Various assemblies now want some more enforcement.
And I want to make say we are very stern.
Some more another one was
yes was
I say an advantage point for my therefore
because it will be a me driving na me hu the way anko for standing now school kwala twetwam na very very dangerous. But at the end of the day no ebe yon say akwala na we di 3 years no onu kra be hu say na me force right kwan be want e also me fast here. So it boils down to how you are groomed the surroundings we find ourselves, how disciplined we are. Naturally, human beings, most of us are not disciplined. Yeah, best way. There is more room for improvement. We will be now here. Sani omani yanyen structure say ebe magana yefe. That be eye for buying bonti ne eye sadia. She say unhu bia. Say ekwan ne wa. Say ekwan ne yeden. Say obi soa wo nneoma obe charge o. Say on charge o. Say ebo ho buying kwanti. That also use. Na yen kan hunu say ana manfo ni. Refusal to use it no a criminality. And say one hwe ni ye na say mra so omu a ebia na baby ebefa no na wenu hu nti yenye ne saa de na mboa ye na at the end of the day o man na ye chichire
supreme moments Keskin, Dr. Keskin also pokuma minti.
I think the first issue has to do with the level of indiscipline or system. We feel many years Yabekaya issue BC or Madina a kind so the similar thing obisi will track when a car born and yeah overpass or we overpass still go track. Why? A do baby say on my moon say commercializing discipline even just kapao. Now I'm telling you, you're commercializing discipline now. Even just the entire for our incentive to be in discipline, let's say, or yeah, of hoodie. Obian in Yansa Ghana. Because situation BC in Canada don't be afraid of jaywalking. Jaywalking no is a situation say what do baby any say street lights what jumping street lights and now say what chum at the wrong place. Camera capture we do for this na build away. System no bit the advice or some pakanya one hour yeah. Ya scan when you mock you do na bill, ya send a bill amount. Wouldn't ya? It's all you are doing. You say, oh, you mistake here. I can't say that with you. MMDA is now a was is here. This year I can't say now. If they are following under MMDA bill, then they are told to make sure that people use them. Who do take them? I say even barriers on the team. Why? Why? And I also saw a situation which is related to this. Zambakani, and no, you may not mean I'm so full line and you Misafa Tonsu interchange anywhere. A sumpa. A serious. Street lights. Street lights. And these are things that OJ wow on the barest minimum.
Na regional coordinating castle or cry soon. I ain't found out.
Remember, my son is a message. I'm a queen. Regional minister.
No cry soon.
My senior man said, "It's well." I said that time, sir. May I be some queen here successful.
I'm saying because we're a young man. Here, man, no one among say Zuba the Biabo born.
Because we're a young man. But so far, I said so far, for land Zuba, I said for land Quadaso.
Quadaso. We're in a chim interchange.
Any chim. By touching this one, it's on the Folanda way.
But I couldn't they or say.
But I said so these are things, sir. You're done for you. Me, I'm your president. And I'm your regional minister. Now, so MMD. And now MMDC. Now, street lights won't mean so. Mercury. It's a common funds can burn in no, as a citizen, no, it doesn't make sense.
Central government, no crime more.
It doesn't make sense.
Now, more fun crop for our bonus here problem.
I don't for other engineers or assembly. So, never be saying you.
There's all assemblies now, artisans. No, first now, cover a bit to say, plumbers, mason, a one. Say Kakrabi or Batoma Kema Juma or the Bama contract. It's all artisans. It's almost to your mocha. Almost waiting. Yeah, assemblies in the union. Some person for crown or party for my artisans. Everybody's okay. No, stop me. What I'm making say. And your excuse. Some people near you. And this near you. It doesn't make sense. Just street like traveling to me so. It is kind of bad about assembly. I just am original. And so for so many days. Yeah, no, you, mamma, now. And these are things that are doing wow. As on my move for citizens or my move. What I say, and this is about MPP, not about NDC. Make some new Macohine. We're young man, we're successful. Or be say me be regional minister. And we oh, I'm a about with me and young man was with my about no maintaining catcho or supremo.
But the last post to now on free airport and on Nancy and that they work in the quiet
now enjoy.
Oh, so yeah. Messeno. And TikTok yeah, so or getting in touch with the youth.
Friend, a crap question.
But the substantial address why you know. the very tangible now also you know and these are the things as a regional minister we expect him to sit down and work on making sure for the basics on my street lights
Mama Nase, Dr. Keskin. Usupoku. Adi no na. And then I said I'm a bio munyana Mike's neti so. Ni obi abeka bi obi abete. Ewa ano. Mama ko lecturer Kwadwo Asante. Amsteg eno chade na mimbisa no 1.4 billion US dollars. Abani boosti energy sector. Was what Tuya na da hɔ bi o deserve say abona baso maminti open
that's the power minia I think the government and the finance ministry have done so well the entire more ayade and baby omufiba on say you've taken the country there was so much debt overhang. If I anticipate seriously, say, before the election, I knew that immediately after the election, whether we maintain government or change government, we could do so. So, because the debts were not sustainable, we were out. Now you're free. You me more besia. Oh, Jom. You never be brave. You cry a witness to the number of taxes that were in the system. Yeah, but despite that. 2025 now is so stable. The first time in our history we see our currency, being stabilized. Now, matching up against the dollar, a buffer in a whole year. In fact, in fact, rolling time number 2 but I'm on bar throughout this fall. Me who said yes that. So, in the things there. Say you bought a buying abaso. I will acquire what first one manage the energy sector vis-a-vis the entire economy. So yes, despite that, we are still not out of the woods. Over the years, I think there was a good idea. Say energy stabilization fund. This energy stabilization fund, now the idea on paper was very good because a funder who created the Bayer. Ebetumi ama wine ha in case of petrol kosoro electricity asem ni niema nyina currently they have more than over 2 billion something in there, but the thing is who kwaya energy stabilization fund no fire after all of a sudden I say bibia accounts nina were depleted a whole lot of change bibia so says AYEKA say I think the government has done well. Okay. Whatever to forcing them to bring this one up, in fact, is a plus for them. Okay. Now, we are not out of the woods. Government still owes it a duty to manage the energy sector. We are missing one. For a place like electricity. Electricity cannot be sustained by just increasing tariffs. Management of ECG is key. Sesiano, that idea say party apparatus and still ya point to manage. There are no performance contracts. Into waba or ya dio, wanya dio, no motism. MYN. ECG has a long way to go. First, removing the corruption in the system. Second, Sedia omubetimia jiji wo bills. Minia, since here, ECG bills, a far waste. Since here, your softwares, our system, want to open to me and install here. You don't need to walk to somebody's premises to disconnect him. ECG staff, bebre, ekofie ni ade, illegal connections, microphone ni ade. So, I'm an IT lecturer, and I know what I'm talking about. And some of these things. Almost system on me monitor. I feel will be quite energy prepaid meter. Obey my monitoring from a remote area. Will quiet illegal or particular house. You should be able to disconnect them from your premises. Sir, investment in our sir buying you womb. Near making sure that people who are supposed to pay bills pay. Meaning places are among the bills. You're being installed meter amount 2 years, 3 years, near far bill murder. enti no saban no anhwe anye saa na bills e was all government agencies e was all mutual electricity more was all mutual they don't pay it always nipa ka create na capture mono then they will be increasing the bill for you so yes I ain't sustain energy sector no the idea of petroleum there I think say omo near masa what is it the regulation of the petroleum sector I don't know a boy currently no I was hoping to me the other sectors of the energy environment na yet to me achieve what we want so that we don't accumulate this debt. ECG has the power to sustain by itself. Papa no manage place.
May I say, Kwajo Asante, lecturer, Amstead. Yanana say, Mamenko Keskin, Doctor, Mamen fan title canon, Doctor Keskin, Ousupuku. Doc, me 5 minutes.
That's fine. I think say, I share some of the comments you made. Let's start from the point of the collection of ECG bills. Renovation be in a collection is here. Once our bra MPP buy before a year even Mahama, the ECG CEO no, you few ones and a year no. Now our collection now about 400 million cedis a month. But or they are the aggressive reforms that buy in the collection no. You have to increase the amount to about 1.2 billion a month, and I think that there is still more room for improvement. What I say, never know the same minimum amount of ECG 8 in a month. So these are updates. And this a year IPP ne a honsem no. They make one major thing a cause is a kawi. A year sa take or pay agreement. The previous government of Mahama signed it. I buy a car once a cost not less than 500 million cedis. What I say in payments and that's how I buy a now some payments are buying about 1.46 billion. It's commendable, but a year before. What him said in the year 2024, and even the 2025 budget out of force and Ebekayano, a capside. The previous government of MPP and so it's $1.46 billion. Just based on those what him said, excess capacity charges in the previous government was about $2 billion. So these are contracts I'm going to sign a card indebtedness at the bro mine no. What I say? It's on no abundance says I can't go to Tibia. Now or that's about who's for here. Me where it is. You sign those contracts, created those liabilities. And they say, oh, just I can be. It's why are they no? Now but now signing contracts no. Due diligence ben I. And then you answer the way home come over and over again. And then come over for. So they make what I say. What him say a year even based on the Energy Commission on assessment, almost relocating car power from Tema to Takrade just to be close to gas now here no, and look saving country no about $5 billion already. Scan that I can say you use to any transporting gas any side man. The point I'm making here, ampa now arrangement that how to pay. I buy the buyer what was to say oh you know a year. I won't say a year. What you say? But arrangement another whole about two arrangement and what was. Now arrangement our contracts are sign here, a indebtedness buy a dick buy me maba be to no. My arrangement at all about was who be to over Hosa for him. Majority a statement about Bontino. Can statement bit matches the previous government created say maybe this take or pay agreement I sign you know and of course of this. Now we are trying to change it moving forward. What just say? Now me just can be about a doom so say. Obekaya, I bring to a benny about me transition no. The NDC transition team every release a fiat when I buy now make purchases yeah okay when I buy now I make payments yeah okay some no fuel and so to nyare so mo be up e no mo wie gina pobeka aka 5 days pe na fuel na sa 5 days in so twam na still na there so light it gina was he telling us the truth. The point I'm making is say the politics and the facts sometimes are the boy bra John Zapoka says, oh, here about 90 million that to fuel. But or spending in excess of 200 million still and that's having about 3 months doom so neighbor. But not spending in excess of 200 million that. My point I'm making is say, I'm buying no asudi. Yea, me many light in may not say carry not Emma. But when I got any bian so I'm trying to get free so. And this year buy we introduce one city on every liter of fuel. Me what? It's all just as carry and get one. MPP buy one, that's you need 1 liter or 1 cedi on every liter. But ultimately, $1.46 billion on this debt. It was about when you produce 1 cedi on every liter. So the Bible debt now. No, and no, there why I difference. One friend, woman and issue. And that's what me even the 1 liter on fuel no kwano amount to magnitude over the period. But I'm already budget no. It never came up. It never came up. See, also Bekani, media. I only urge them to do better. That is what Ghanaians expect. So arrangement be your never boy Ghana. Now the 2 year. Now I saw this carry baby. Go ahead and do it. But it doesn't take away the effect of that pay or take agreement almost signing here. I create these liabilities. No, it's one creative problem. What's not? Then the old man may be big. Now I say and really wish them well and ask them to do better.
Okay. Dr. Keskin Osupoku Adiano Supremo Samuel Supremo Mensa. Mama into 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
And there is a saying say Akoko Esacha Kroma and Yennefer. So me, I don't blame him. But before I start, let me take this off. Now I'll make an emphatic statement about street lights. I'll say Emma can be can we be now I'll see your call watch. She said I'll cut the oh me patron me but confirm me from
Supremo.
From RCC stretch now before reach condos who's na be in Hokra. But you Razuba we making sure say be oma bonto krofo from at the solar street light in Abahon
solar. Mrs. Solar
yes.
Yes.
That was also why
what are casking to me more from Lancaster road into to RCC in Kanchem say light or
light or
me say want to me more light in Kanchem say light or
na Uber
RCC no baby efa
you also stretch out
baby Ratri Park near Achiro on light in ho Ofa Park or light in
Ratri Park
Ofa Park or light in ho stretch
say
Tobo the new minerals commission who argument so I was akasa who go kwa assist no junctions are all right in no ya mobile light in ho near that you want to Lancaster no
no and yes the street light wo na say you Razuba edin hye ato akwemu asisi amike say you obey 200 solar bulbs say baby how can you now no 200
anya question no time ni sir anya na awo kan na ye ka ho asemu mesi sum wo ho enti so obi so obebo ba ye mfa
na ebi ni honom iti obi Jesus Keskin oni some moral right so be kidra na ebi ni honom ba ye ba you make sure oh Keskin please is my time
okay go ahead
ye ba you make sure say baby ebi ni no ye bi material stretch no obi Jesus Keskin there oni moral right
then
we talk about the issue on board. You see, let's try to peruse the issue head on. You know, opinion lecturer Kennedy Keskin Kennedy at a point now also the main topic, but let's peruse the topic head on. Then you see, you say Abanyo Tisui we're making payment of over 1.4 billion to IPPs and one when it comes to our energy sector. And so honoma payment ne buy no IPPs nanka say release information say abaya ketua na o dey mom no substantial. When was the last time I was started say to IPP how they born once abon? You see what now? All these 8 years no one make payment our feel is na insignificant the indi yen be say yen ho say NDC amanyoku no in the share IPPs for no con to release the statement say this payment that is coming is very very significant and the key word substantial. Now omaya de bia na e ho no mo pese o mo beka e ho asem. You see, with all these issues are airborne up no now you a certain component I fair no World Bank guarantee. You can say guarantee now more or less like I be a friend say a comforter investors for no better say anye ye kura no se mode ye nka saa sika botini we no ye betumi akoma ko yibi mutumi bowra sika no mu di sika no kan dompe. Do you know what they were doing? No mu hu say sa guarantee no interest rate ewom no kitwe bi which is 4%. So they were trying to apply something we call fiscal strategy, forgetting the fact say uye sadie na at the end of the day one kasa credibility as a nation in terms of fiscals, in terms of your economy, no, it is at stake. It is no man say me ofa ncheche muni na ne say minua kesken oska me ofa wo de o ye me ofa prekope wo su oska minua kesken bom me besi a obeji me nsi hu 10%, ba me ofa de obom me besi obeji me nsi hu 1% pe. It me makwaji me ofa sika minim say e de me ofa nti me di sika ne kwa mfa me ho. That is what the NPP government did. Yenye ba ye no ine ye hu say sa fiscal measure no mo use no was a no at the end of the day say ye di eno na mo de ye call a junk state can we be na mo de ye call a junk state economy e magana edu mpempen so bi kwa na ye mpese ye be hwe enim se ekobo besia. All these strategies, the work strategy amo employ na ka hu bi nti ye wura to forcing etina ase no hu say this time we have to approach the issue based on credibility. And then Abu Amayetumi offset is our guarantee. Do you know the consequences or the implements when it comes to Sadiana Uranayan? Ebema investors could be confidence where you say country ne jabrane into some more BB more or munshiki. This is the economic discussion that we should be having, not the usual rhetorics and propaganda.
Or say generation plans be or why buyer. No, it's not needed. I don't know mama cano a baba. I'm buy no. I want to be answer. I'm buy no contract. No, they could have renegotiated. Almost twice. Unim say ye buy the real almost say at the end to the SSN ye boka. Ye buy ye only say renegotiating contracts na IPPs. In my young for of excesses of $300 million. Unima may catch you. We have renegotiated the contract. We have renegotiated and we have evidences here.
I'm just searching for it.
At the end of the day, ye buy ye to me de be jam brand. Ye buy na kire say a gas crampa ye the power plant in the crampo was at stake. Owura ne beka no energy minister beka am say ye kan ye doom so no kwa ba say omu we see the country doom to the essence say adie bia omu kan ye bia no am wash it in the whole betra ha no maka say in a age tax ne ade na ka make anka wo kan no na nka wa ma ya ti ase say amafo tua 1 cedi no fuel price they do 18 cedis ne 14 cedis ma breso sisi AYEKA say ukogro me dey standard petrol 1 liter, saying 10.99. 1 gallon times 4.5. Ebema hovering around 50 cedis. Time na mo ho no. Now a gallon of fuel, a koya could do 90 cedis and over. One can't Ghana for say ye buy, sad day way in the try 11. Ya scrap it taxes are at the end of the day. Mumu say the yen to me sustain, but we are doing it. When himself sad day we see ya you 1.4 no. Mwankasa mu nipa or ye senior colleague uni masemo obisa o say na ma dem makoji juju ana because ade bia mo ye na eto bia ye ntiase. This is what we are talking about. Mwankasa won call for a complaint say so man ko say ya dem better opposition a che Keskin, this is the truth of the matter. And you say ye bibia na nkan nya ofem as patriotic as we are yem bo aban na ba so e ya ade bia IPPs na nkasa na omo friend is saying sector people no and our sector players no they are commending the government say we a substantial and a very significant feature aban na omo beji aban na say he is ready to fight every anomalies when it comes to the energy sector. This is what we call aban papa. This is what we are Samuel, so at the end of the day, we have opportunity. I am communication team member, National Democratic Congress. Keskin, ma some a minute. Na minti unafe.
Contracts, no, I don't think that is a true statement. That's not a true statement. But I mean, read it, baby. We read it from Class FM Online. The then Finance Minister Nana Eka saying, and I'll say, in other words, Finance Minister then, that was Ken Ofori Atta. I'll say, the renegotiated agreement, according to Mr. Ofori Atta, are expected to have savings estimated at $13.2 billion over the life of the PPA through a combination of reduced capacity and energy charges. In other words, we are saving the Ghanaian taxpayer $13.2 billion from power contracts signed by the previous administration. Okay, Ghana need Kaya. Okay, said baby, I'm not saying electricity charge, electricity bills also. Okay, and then the MPP. Yes,
and
yeah.
under COVID, we all.
Within the first 2 years, no. I'm not saying electricity bills also. Or some mechanics and what we talk about. The first time we say electricity, no. So behavior.
Supreme Monye, Oviena, Ovivia, no.
Me say, Obia Ote, Bia, some electricity bill, yeah, since I'm not to a country. What I say, yeah, we know. And these are there, it's well recorded. You can check on your phone while you use Android, you can find out. Google can give you the answer. What I say, Ebio, Supreme, as I make can say, these arrangements, no, Kaya, ahead of after COVID, a dual can IPP super some withdraw or more services. And I bind them, and no more chance to say. Anyway, moving forward, no, you be making these payments to you every year. So the first payment I call was in 2024. The amount was $1.46 billion. This month amount of mutual, around the same region. Exactly. So what makes you think say the business arrangements no and what about to and I make that say the source of say cano and a contract bonny among sign go. It doesn't mean say the money is commendable, like I said, but it is not new. So why do you sit and pretend say and a be for Nancy? The man can say you have to even do better. You have to do better in a sense. Say, yes, I can remember to arrangement. Moon toss you go ye. Now, more can't say, so pretend say, mobile might be for. If the amount I ever said is substantial, and they buy the last time, it's substantial. And then you know, as I'm becoming, as a maker, no, as one maker, no,
Cat's in first, mammy.
Medicino, or more budget or more can you in 2025. Mad me to say the same example. Mad me to say Ampa, the previous government made the same payment. So what is the issue here?
In fact, I didn't want to digress into the details of the previous contracts and all those aspects, because currently, and I said, you're debating on one can once and near me by. Now, you're telling say, on the sir arrangement, we no, but along the line, Ghana defaulted.
This is true.
Ghana defaulted. So, vis-a-vis Yenye defaulting, and the financial burden about 2 years so is settling our debt. So, in fact, when we look at the energy sector for the first administration of Nanado, I think it was managed well, because what happened was that Brian Dumso under Mahama, first time Mahama, at the time of his exit, they were forced to establish the Energy Stabilization Fund. So that was the first time. And during Ken Ofori Atta's time, the Stabilization Fund has accumulated. We had enough. So we were able to service the agreement up to a point. It was at the time of COVID, 2021 thereabout, when Ofori Atta went to Parliament under emergency and withdrew the law now prevented them from touching that Energy Stabilization Fund. So that is where our woes actually started. If you say from that time, they actually depleted the entire Energy Stabilization Fund. It's not your ability to sustain the energy sector. And not any hobby. And Nuntina, Ama sa the AYEKA Finance Minister no aya de no ebemu, because because the fund they had to start building the fund, because you continue previous way the way of Ofori Atta managing place now and can you be crying at 1.47 no, in order to meet that agreement that was there. So that is why most pundits are saying say the government has done well, because to be able to still restore the fund and manage the economy and be able to sustain and pay that 1.47 billion at this time, 1 year upon what assuming office, is a plus. It's a plus that we all have to really commend them.
So, Mama, 1 minute now, young queen.
One thing I so many I also tears and say, I never sat here. I can't say or the American say in 8 years. Adia mutumi ye no any sadie no. Sanka commendable at least IPPs no we are very independent. They have independent mind. And come back out. I be sure say Adena mind a great fit. I didn't know in just 1 year. Yeah, IPP phone in a so. Then we talk about ESLA. ESLA na no mudi tua energy debts ne ade no. Ye na ye de ba yo. Ono ka say creative plan. Ye na ye de ba ye. Then na MPP aban de ye. Omo de koje besia to 2035. That is the woes we are in now. Tiyanya ya ade ye novel e be bo man no. Mo de mo ba ya ade bia ye bia na e ye fund bia no. Mo de koje besia. Some decolonize. Now at the end of the day, yaba. Near to me make another feat. Near to me offset a very substantial and significant amount. You have nothing. Only moral courage. Be as obeying. Obeda or more. The hems of affairs. In fact, the finance minister has performed so well. Energy minister no has performed so well. And in fact, all the credit in the comma His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Supremo,
we are on the
Mensa,
Ken
Ofori Atta.
Can I say?
The issue, and I share. Now, Ambassador Victor Smith, I may have to say FBI for picking up from ICE custody. Assembly change. They say investigating.
I believe once it is a legal process, then he has to go through the legal process.
Okay.
What I said. As some credit. On what is happening, we investigate the issue. We have said in Tamakulu on court at the judgment. And on the abiding interested in assembly. And I extradition episode extradited Ken no. And they said in a Mendy cinema, I mean I say a scan of a man or money of a finance or on the here. Ken never access to lawyers. And I believe in the US they believe in law. So definitely obeying access to lawyers. So I really don't see much about Ken Assembly. If so go through the process every year, now say you say assembly a bona. He has to face the law. If so go through now say assembly a mona. And man be jano. What I say? The only issue not me as a person, not me war, was the post trainer and this are buying a buy, you know. The way I not post to be on Mutiki here. No, when he said, you let me the same at also. You let him not some no, only for. But I heard your processes move up to so a coin be swar. Near anywhere in the year. What I say? For instance, Supremo way. Yes, so Supremo. There are smart also by or about Baymu Wafeska. What first can I ask on face can Obiani? But near use bail conditions. I are punish you. Near Gajo Supremo or my work with anybody mouth.
Based on scar or more alleges. I don't know raise conditions.
No. For instance, also bail conditions, if court with media, but court the ban meaning was himself. Quabra court a day band at least a lawyer or Makika. But other state institutions like Yokoniades are more political heads and they determine bail conditioner. So maybe Yoko boss, I have a catch of my work as Mama B. Oh, that's based on the NDC for you. It's a main no issue. Now, mean, trust some bar, mean a fair process. Now, my friend is up on the I'll try to stay away. Reasonably. No, reasonably. What I say? That's why I make her say US for issue when you're with ICE, so I'm applying whatever the case is. And now, quite I'm interested. Well, my belief say they have systems are about protecting or no or more investigating about protecting interest. Unlike what we have here. And then you're back me and you are here. What I say? Because Osha and Sama, you're able to two MBB penny for be so. And I even Mammy will be calling MBB penny. Obia or do one. All on appointments under the previous NDC government or follow through for time all through. Arise do talk. And some attorney general can ye. And then someone will call court a different court. No, sir, and some attorney general can't prosecuting every. But a court to dinner.
And I will, mammy.
What I say, Nipano go through processor. I think that is the due process. That is the law. And nipa no so every right within the law to fight the law. But the creating impression me say or no use lawyers to fight extradition no. I am wrong. But it's not wrong. That is the law.
Okay.
And he has every right to defend himself. At the end of the day, the right thing will be done. And man bona uncoach the anymore. And man mona ofani wedi.
Na dey no ma Ken no as a usuro so be bagan.
That's why I gave you Mejusu a year what the government was doing about from using processes as means of punishments.
Okay.
What I say? Now me bad on inside the menye. Now you have menya crime kwa ku ja court ni me defend me hono. Now you have me kwa ku semu 2 months sir. What is me ba?
Me da say Dr. Kesken Owusupoku communication team member MPP or as far as be nominations no be communication director our Ashanti region. Chief Maminti o lecturer Kwadwo Asante so lecturer Amstead. Or no so Maminti o no.
I think say yenya ya to say about democracy. Now as a country I was seeing it here say both parties. Become both parties because I'm not dominant. I was say it here say democracy goes with accountability. Say yamfa accountability na attach here. Our democracy is not sustainable. So, inti Ken Ofori Atta onye ni paketwa. Why a finance minister of a nation for almost 8 years? One I would open cool US. F say yes say same way A B C. One I wasn't pray now be you one. Edin kan ye mayeti say oyare. Or san hoyare. All along no yenim say oyare. But in US we are here me found custody. Definitely the fact that say more editing no say ne yare issue no enye ade a eno ho ene ye hwe mean say ne ho edi so enti no me mesre minimum MPP for say efe say wow finance minister na ye di bibi bono say ye hia ne bia mo am be encourage no aban a mo opposition a mo fight back to government amamata ababemu na wo fight ababemu na wow finance minister question on issues of finances untumi mane me ya no yes am for man nsa wonsa na next one also be the same thing one kwa answer. Sometimes I don't see where the whole thing is coming from. I think that it's in the interest of the MPP to make sure say the man comes and defend himself. The defense no, and never only himself. It's a defense for himself and the party. Because he ran, he stood on behalf of the remember?
Said them quite a judgment.
Now, it is a quiet say. I say, ye defending until now. When the system is not fair, we all saying and fight it. More you've been in government. The idea of using your Konyadi to detain people, no, both sides. I'm one of them. It's there be after all, you can fight it. You have the courts here. Somebody can go to court and prevent Yoko and other state law enforcement from doing that. Ain't no Ofori Atta say ye so or defend that is not correct. I don't think it doesn't cast a good image on MPP at all. That you make the whole party machinery. I say no. We give excuses for
you have your time.
I mean, details.
I
was thinking one for the interest of himself and the party. It was a buying MPP for encouraging the party executives should help and bring him. Near who's only a party, almost accountable. So, finance minister, you the charges and our to work again. You're convicted. You have every right to stay here and defend yourself. It was over. Now, initially, me meeting these and I thought say, yes, the visa, but it was revoked. It was revoked as far back as July. Enna and Sana, you be detained. So why do you wait till you are detained? I didn't know what to remember. It's me insisted. We should see the rule of law. say ordinary person ye bibi near the nickel court a convicted MP before my time more convicted nipa bebre more a whole finance minister we're talking about millions come and answer now you are running as a fugitive trying to do the sick aside. I mean just the same way the workers said in Amtaba Group government should pursue said in Nam because already you're convicted court are convicted he has the right to appeal but I was over and I must see the effort from government in pursuing all criminals in the same manner no more me one so man yes sir democracy turning into non-accountable scenario be this car ye be kona no akotana breche na party na defend do na we say ya e be kakra no this democracy will not be sustainable emwa obia I was say omunya omine trust ni emu say they are working and they are accountable and yes sir they should count themselves out in the next 15-20 years we can also sustain this democracy.
Madase Supremo
Wofa Mr. TF Bibia lecture and or can same Bibia minigion. The first point to make here is say US so who do no moons and who do on a washra. Say be moon detain you. Inti no cry a clear fact say Ura Ken Ofori Atta Chantro this time no wedding. 2. You see, young go back to history. In fact, the current finance minister, he ran to force him. There were Ghana, face the rigors of the law to come out clean. This should start in November 2017. AYEKA for Pekin. The man came out clean. Yante once a man over 6 years. Yes, he was 11 once a. After that comment, Nana. AYEKA started say almost no. But the man faced the rigors. No, near the he is the finance minister. In fact, he is one of the best finance ministers Ghana. And on the type of party I end this year. 2. Say be na yen nuanum mi no mo nye privy to information. Say nam tamaku. Eji ankasa babontian beka say o ma complete ne extradition, she will come and serve her jail term. That alone shows the type of party and this year. Yankasa yemuni pao muna mujelino baya so we are bringing you the extradition procedure now. Ejamaya tells a completed NTBR obeba. Then we talk about a former we see as someone making a revolver about finance. A former deputy finance minister, a fellow Victor Salome. So okay, sa history now. Kufo ba ya omudi serious offense fraud office as he say yoku etata no. Owura no yare o. Okokota no nume duro. Or that prison na near the oxygen since who so wo prison. E won sa wo. A many so you know part ni Jan say massa say why you are there na e boni face the rigors of the law.
Ba mo kasa say na so mo kasa na. But
difference a woman say one nipa na ye boni na enam me say enam Ken Ofori Atta sunti NPP vote na omanya bebebe no now it is pointed to him because it got to a time onani go for say na on board turning he was very incompetent in the changing what happened. And ora we time no free Ghana trauma chief of staff say ne ho dodo no or kwa akosa ne ho yare aba o yusu B1 B2 visa okodu ho no no o ma kuturu ni o ma egu krata aso ne lawyer o mu fere ade o mu ni same o ma kuturu ni o ma egu krata aso say yen change ne residential status o pe green card no wa ye permanent member unim de o yes ano on person be ba Ghana kra bim owura we etubon bon kesiye pa ye national cathedral bon $97 million or say my ye me na me ye
na mo so moto ye
me bagana
afede am so mo twen for
SML PDS ni na bono or say me we me de me bagana bim and yes ye tena ho no musa akwa eji amaya ti ase say or the reporting ni ma embassy taking on any revoke ne visa did ya say ne time I the man say ombra Ghana na I lapse it will show determination. Say me, we are me day, my book chrono, and as I mean book chrono, me bagan and be facing lobby. This is the type of person we are talking about. Oh, run. Now me and by this time, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo. What the whole case said nam tamakru. Where AYEKA His Excellency President Akufo-Addo ne nephew no. Ni wo fasen no. Intanke obi anka obetunu fo se onua ebusuadin no ye bo ho ban. Kakra na aka ne ye bo ho ban. Nse onim se wa ye bone, wo de ye bra. Na ye mfa wo konseni ni na ye mambra ni wundi. Se wo come out cleaner. No bi untanka by this time brass band digina Kodoka International Airport, I train you to say, Obeba no obedi nkunim. I didn't know otite. I didn't know Johnny. Na Kenya ferries will be also Okosaya Arisana, Okojara Arisana Waba. After the Udu Hall Mouse and Sawon Bakrabi. Tenisi. We a create a precedent be say, Obidi Bonino, your officer, Onyane. We don't do that in the country. And MPP for me, Tumofo. Adewe. Mo crampon a bebwa Musemubeba. Mumana Abba, now a big court because a big campaign message, Etiamu in 2028. Hey, Namu Minister Bokron, no, Nasa Mufan by any and some to Abama Muna, movie, Massa Bokron, Nama Manajani. That be Mamena said, Namdian, Medimanusin, said Namdian Minia. A tradition process name complete. Ebia now. Age Nankasan, say it neighbor, no be facing Jotem. This is the type of party we are talking about. Yes, so Boneso. We are very different from the NPP.
Samuel Supremo Mensa. Nedia no yabe sorry yabe koti time naka menye sure say benya time a hwejo mama first time next week team we yabe samba na ya kasa fonti a minute ni enwe nko keske.
Also your cap president na say bibia esida awuye. The president be esete ya. Na say kasa dran na sete ya. Ana mebo. Etuka say your president be set president a. Na ebio no extradition and then they are instruments of law. What does it say? A buying our honor. It is not the business of MPP. So obi visa, obi extradition. MPP didn't let us extradite to be. Can MPP do that? Exactly. That is why you want AG. That's what I can say. And once they operate within the ambit of the law, meaning what said. Let me what I say. But the panel so or they are some say the parents who have every right within the law to fight the law. So why do we keep creating an impression say Nipano Momo use so and Makwanso to defend himself? Nipano my one. Mr. Senyi Abrana said nam Ekoyeno. I'm John Mahama, the then leader of NDC. One can say said number. Abano opposition. I don't want to. So Obia Okasa and MPP, the person is just simply not being truthful to the issues. MPP has nothing to do on Ken Ofori Atta. So why are Dibina enya? And you are buying Ghana and then Ken Ofori Atta. So go on. Those MPP in Biafra say, oh, Ken Ofori Atta anya bone, why say? Obia so can say Emra bona when I'm running in. But what I'm saying is say within the ambit of the law, no. He has every right to also defend himself. Okay. And if you on the last I didn't say. Also, Supreme so na ye said the name extra. What can see ye na ye fa ne maya. Ye hu hwe o. Abra mu hwe eye Ken Ofori Atta de no. Mo hu be person abon say e dey atọ to we mu say o mo extradite Ken Ofori Atta. One said them the one
but we started process na Godfrey Aboadam.
I think he started. Minim the full facts, but that's what I said. I think
because time and sentence by now I wonder say man starts so much the name.
Yeah, but that's why I said I think, but I don't have the facts of it. But the point I mean making is say if say ene say if say we are so poised, say a person strategy obi a investigating na they investigating we are oye ye hu ni pa no de. All quite say the president extradition papers be aba based on supreme logic.
Ma
so when me ba ma ba ye party na benti bra. Sister Maya, you lack every moral right.
Mamma, that's talking about that. Quajo, Asantin, so Emre,
sir. In fact, politicians know. They always exploit the law to suit themselves. One major problem I war in democracy was that the law, the way it's dealing with citizens and the way it's dealing with politicians are different.
Politicians are citizens.
Oh yes, but who's my super citizens? The way the law deals with them. I think that as a country. Mama ye who say in it here, we are all abiding by the law and living under the same constitution. So the AYÄKA is not about me saying no, me submission is not based on the law, say and morality say there be issue of morality. The man was your finance minister. Well, you're charging national service free. Yeah, got you. No niha. Sagon, no niha. Gifty. But omobai. And they came. Also omobai no. Omo try and koso. But enema yidi. Whether the law will find them guilty or otherwise. And no die. Yeah, try court. I wanted Ofori Atta to do the same. Me na me wo ho. And I even many she cry my fans say paper and bone mu and I'm work green card. Near bomb me queer do say yes where we is Ghana. Hey, come to me green card crowd because I'll come and defend myself.
Okay.
The dignity.
Why you choose a gift and be the friends on that?
Order me.
Exactly.
And just send me the paper.
That
is exactly what I'm saying. And you know, I was saying, no me the American for buying people say for the sake of your party, urge him. And the wound me question is
okay.
But urge him to come so that he exonerates himself and that of the party.
Mr. Kwajo Asante, lecturer, Amstead, Supremo, Kakrabini.
Ken Ofori Atta died all about it. Nankenya DNA in yet I remusemo. Ndown labuni.
I
Come. Nankenya asemo. Then I would just come we was oh man nem mouth na. That means there is something. You see, me catch MPP for say, 2028. Say Ken Ofori Atta behave sadi way. A big campaign message to me catch them. And at the end of the day, Saturday they catch you to move for Muntio. Now me dem anusi. You see, so what corruption in sense ma AYÄKA ho asemi. Ye buy 1 year, ye nti bibia sa o. Anano no, anka nyoma bebre. CD ba CD cost dollar ba from petrol prices e ko from bibia ko ye inflation e ko from ye debt to GDP 61%, 45 above from unemployment rate 14.7%, above from 13 and going down. Yes. Ebiana wunim. We see obi oya economics be besides our question. You are making a lame argument.
Budget we are kind of number of jobs.
At the end of the day, no. Ye dream die ne kan ankofo we be ja honum na ye bo oman no ban benano. Na ye san so de nyoma tutu akwemu a ebeboa ma bibia AYÄKA. Me di manusi no. Me mfa nti akese so nkoma the fantastic Ashanti regional minister me nua tia se na me nua me minimum nkoma wadi no obebi bebiri masa ogbo adwuma ekom widiem owura franka mo akohine bo adwuma ni na me mfa nti akese nkoma no na me ntia party panyini bia bi nkoma Kumasi mayor anka munya asankofo we mu time anka Kumasi say na beye je wa hanum na Ashanti regional minister bi bae mu am party nkofo o kan say mufia nkona me pese me ne mbekasa. This is the type of people we are talking about. Yam bomb abaso na yam fa mining ko di be bia de be hia say o mining preparation be
va ade ba ko abesro mayor and regional minister management of traffic inquiries. It's becoming a nice one. So it's becoming a nice one. The whole management of the city. Yes. I'll say it really.
Okay.
The traffic lights where they are positioned, and doors will go. Okay. Apart from the level of traffic jams. So any other no. I'm saying about also here. Since you are so free,
Mr. Kwajo Asante, lecturer, Amstead. No pay na se papa appreciating the time papa Keskin doctor Keskin Usupoku communication team member New Patriotic Party or no crime on cancer me and no concern maker Supremo Mensa communication team member National Democratic Congress or as a youth organizer NDC Zombie nomination. Keskin as a communication director. I'm a MPP. I was for
ensem no eno no enti sebi uti ensem MPP ni kanya sebi nyansa woman na yaka che se nipa MPP ni empa de papa nipa MPP ni empe Ghana ye. Nipa MPP ni eye bibi te sebi iti abofom. And it is very, very sad. Sometimes if you ask yourself and you ask certain things about the whole thing, you begin to believe some MPP for a nation wreckers. You begin to understand some MPP for the omupa ni se aban bi beba so na oba be fix economy na omo asenya ba na omo ba be den omo be misappropriate niema. Look at the current state of issues AYEKA Ken Ofori Atta. Anything zema AYEKA Ken Ofori Atta kiane kin so pew this guy Ken Ofori Atta will surely come to Ghana because he knows very well and he knows clearly say why dey we diga ne sika na nka esi den na obeja o comfort zone na okakwote no bi man so na still na nipa na watena ne man so say o ma won tena ho because o visa no no ankasa no de ma wase age still na no o the judges lawyers Afghanistan lawyer ene nkofo binom ne na machiri say o mbo na won kan wasim bi ma. Meanwhile you have your hometown, your home country. Oba Ghana sebi oye dishie anyo osuban no ni ya oba Ghana nkofo be hwahwa wankasa o family member akase wonnya adwuma bi na sebi wowua onye. But you be say who say adan na Ken Ofori Atta or that kind of opportunities in Ghana here or no ankasa ni business okọ mo kan say feel proud say mirefi kakra okọ honum ani fie kakra si ho hanum ho ya fie kakra si honum ni fie kakaraka esi honum a no kasa the family members na metinam na omundi denkosi ni wuda o betimi. But you see then nipa betimi avoid that kind of opportunities in your life. No wako baby anka ya said yenye sika nwie ya na yenye sika fi ye pesika no na ye pray ho tu kwan ye kokora na sa omuma ye ntena ye di ani kan kan ya ko de yakɔhye baby ne bobra ba wo papa pani over 60 years a wo se wa bedi Ghana so because now wo sika nti wanje akatua na wo ejapade nti wo bedi Ghana so 8 years wanje kobu wanje kobu na mpesa ba peswa it for that matter no yembo abaso yen heliu. But you are the same person udi minister ni wiye untimi magana wadwane ko Ken Ofori Atta white no hihye ne ha bible quotations anu otu onama na ochiachie nyina no sa na Ken Ofori Atta onim bone wadi enti na opekwan bi so dia convince Ghana for dia to abama baomia enti watimi ato so adi nsebone na nka odwin se baomia nyina ya nka Ken Ofori Atta bedwane ko America se okosara ho yade because MPP elusuye and MPP went to opposition no. That was the reason why Ken Ofori Atta he got that moral grounds to run away from this country. But said he be sebi the ibewu aponche ni bewu ni behu ni tintin na say kakran na US authority for ejamu na omo e de Ken Ofori Atta bi Ghana ha. Man will be mobile. Nipa ho be mobile papa, I'm telling you. And I'm praying say about NDC phone call and sympathizers. Mumi hu no mobile oyare mumi nyese wa yese na saa nkwase yese bi borofo no munyusu preba geni okurum ha. Omunyusu saa awudifo ne adwembonefo ne akoromfo borofo no. That is preba geni in judicial terms. Omunyusu bi okurum ha. Na omudi justice and fairness. Justice and what? Fairness aye adwuma abu atani yi. So beko jela wako onko jela. Oni se dinam endo asa meka se dinam temakulo. Former Maslow leader o se CEO na NDC ba first no. So ono nso oba Ken Ofori Atta eba oni ne eba. Obi ne yire kromfu ba no kromfu bi ma eba. What na me chona say? They are all coming to sell their J-term. said in the quad or more prosecuting we or ban so be them now why in your soil because we adding I was says this should send a warning to African leaders, African ministers, African CEOs or more politicians. This should send a very big warning. So when your opportunity at the BD or anymore, it doesn't mean you should enrich yourself and your family members and friends as well. Enti Ken Ofori Atta ile bi kujina hono musae ebu ni muni ne yire. But then accountability na besa na kire yase also ba. What kind of garbage is that? What kind of what is that? Is it what? Is it what? Is it what? I don't understand. Enti ye twan Ken Ofori Atta kakra oba bi pie wo Ghana cha DC ade obeba because baby we kodu ni de ho atro oye hu hwe yi kire wadwen e comment section ni makra bye bye.